casually move like half a foot forward here and then half a foot forward here, you know, and then next thing you know, you're dry humping the wall and shit. You don't even know it, you know, so it's like... Welcome, Nerd Chatter, a weekly podcast where we discuss stories throughout the week from the film and gaming and tech industries. Got Kenny with me today when I'm in.
Hey, what up? How's it going? On
this week's show, we go over the Netflix fiasco and James Gunn announcing the DCU slate. But before we get going, depending on what platform you're listening to, make sure to hit that follow button and subscribe. Be much appreciated. So the James Gunn news, pretty big. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's a
whole new slate of movies coming out.
I mean, it didn't. I mean, it kind of felt like he was given a lot, and when he was reading them off, and then I wrote them down, and it's an extensive list of things.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on,
and it's like a pretty big variety of films. Like he's kind of hitting like all corners of DC Comics.
Yeah, and we'll get into this list here. Admittedly, I mean, I'm not sure your level of involvement with these comic runs, but I haven't read comics consistently since like the early 2000s. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, same here.
Grow up and shit. And spend money on comics, or you got to spend money on bills and gas and
right.
So exactly. But some decent inspirations. We got James Gunn sharing some covers of some books that people should read. He recommended if they want to get a vibe. He did mention, I mean, his job was to come in and make sure DCU is connected between all media, played by the same actors. And he did say what game, animation, comics, and film and TV.
Yeah, he said pretty much any type of media he wants to be congruent through everything. So the same voice actor is going to be could play the same like on live action, like live screen.
That was my recommendation back in the day with like the Justice League cartoon, because you had Michael Rosenbaum playing Flash, who played Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Yep.
He has a slim build, he definitely looked like he could probably squeeze into that Flash suit. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of people kind of up in arms about that because DC animation is kind of sacred to a lot of people,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's where I think DC has like obviously going kind of choosing between DC and like Marvel and stuff. I think DC's animation is far superior than
It's
Marvel.
kind of hit or miss.
There are a few that aren't as good as others, but like generally speaking, like the
Super
DC
sick,
animation is pretty good.
A lot more watchable, a lot less of a novelty. Like when you watch like Marvel animations, they kind of just seem like, hey, here's these characters, like
right. Yeah.
But the DC animation feels like they have a mission.
Right.
Can those carry over? I think my biggest issue with even that playing out is just like the pay scale. There's just an obvious crack between those two industries in terms of animation and voice acting and live action acting. Like definitely not one's any better than the other, but when it comes down to it, they get paid more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the amount of work and on location dedication that you have to do for live action film is a lot more strenuous and demanding than a voice actor.
Yeah.
So, like, are these actors, are they going to be able to swoop up your, really popular, actors and convince them to do side projects for, like, chump change? Are they going to raise the value of those roles as real actors just to do the same jobs as your standard voice actor? There's other stuff there that could get muddled. We're going to go through this list here. Did mention, he did say, Joker 2 and the new Batman, the Batman.
But he said that those are going to stay outside of the DCU.
Continuity. The continuity is going to be separate. DC Elseworlds, which is a reference, it does hold up. A lot of these references are more recent storylines and stuff, so... if you know more than we do, we apologize. First one is Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which we all know is due to come out pretty soon. Then Flash, she did state that is going to reset the entire universe. They're going to have the same actor, and you know the drama. Ezra Miller's a little nuts, but it is what it is. Allegedly. Then the next one is Blue Beetle, which I've had multiple references to Blue Beetle like growing up. I think he had a cartoon, if I'm not mistaken, at one point.
Yeah, he's in Young Justice and a couple other I think he actually has a movie.
There was
if I'm not mistaken.
That's the one that's coming out right now is Blue Beetle.
Well, I mean like an actual animated movie.
I think an animated movie,
or he's part of he's in a big part of an animated movie. So I'm familiar with the character, not 100%, but I know what he is and what he has.
He did a Blue Beetle cameo in Smallville. I know he's been live action.
Yes,
before.
yeah, he was in Smallville.
I think that is the case. Yeah. Cool character, but it kind of looks funky. That's the thing with DC characters. Outside the main bunch, they get kind of wacky and weird looking. So kind of roll with it. But I think he looks better than most. He did say the 8 to 10 year plan. The first chapter will be called Gods and Monsters. He did say that it's part of the first chapter. So I think he had a hard time conveying what they're looking at. He didn't want to say phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3.
Right.
It's first chapter.
You guys are just copying Marvel with phases.
They just can't do that because people would bitch. Not because they physically or legally can't. They don't
want to hear it.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it. He's already heard enough.
I don't want to hear it.
Then the next one's Creature Commandos animated series written by James Gunn. Creature Commando, I think that's the one with Frankenstein and Wolfman and Bride of Frankenstein, and they're all
I think I'm not familiar with that, so I can't
super
say.
obscure.
I know that there's random. There's definitely gonna be some random monster hero dudes that's everyone knows.
Yeah, monster heroes you're familiar with, or monsters that you're familiar with made into hero type characters.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it cycles characters frequently, and there's no real telling as to where they're going to pick up and who they're going to have. But
kind of like the Monster Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly. Monster Suicide Squad or Doom Patrol. Probably going to be closer to a Doom Patrol. That one's interesting. That one's and that is going to be written by James Gunn, so it's going to be very Peacemaker-ish. Kind of wacky Guardians of the Galaxy type of vibe, most likely.
Hey, I'm all for that if it's.
Yeah, I think if it toes that line a little bit too close, people are going to lose their fucking mind though. They'll never hear the end.
Pure copy.
Yeah, I told you he's just going to come over here turn into Marvel. Then the next one is Waller. I just don't like that character. I think that one was set. I didn't like the character from her first appearance in the original Suicide Squad, which is a dog shit movie.
Yeah.
I just didn't really like her vibe. And then the second movie, it was kind of funny, and I was all right, she's all right,
Yeah. What did you think of her in Peacemaker?
I haven't watched Peacemaker.
Oh, you need to watch Peacemaker.
Okay.
It's John Cena is pretty hilarious, and so his whole squad is, the dynamic is very, very funny.
Yeah, I've definitely seen references. I think the last scene from the last episode or whatever, when Superman, Flash, and all them show up.
Yeah.
Which, ironically enough, the two characters you actually see the faces of in that scene are the only DCU characters, DCEU characters that have standalone movies coming out.
Yep.
You didn't see Superman, you didn't see Batman, you didn't see Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman was missing from that lineup or something like that, but. The only characters you saw, the whole fish fucking joke, that, my concern, and going down this list, next one here is, I forgot to mention, Aquaman 2 was after Blue Beetle and before Creature Commandos.
So do you think it's also after Flash? So
it's after Flash, yes.
So do you think that they are going to recast Aquaman?
They can't. It's already done. The film is done.
Oh, did they've already pretty much finished?
It's they could go back for reshoots, but it's pretty much done. So they're not still making that movie. Now, I think the reports are that there's no real reshoots going down. Both of these movies, Flash had some changes made, some stuff removed, the whole Same thing they did with like Shazam, where they moved Wonder Woman reference and stuff like that.
Right.
That one for a different reason we'll get into in a minute, but yeah, that's my biggest concern out of all of them is like Flash, meh. As long as the end gets rid of some things and changes and resets the vibe, then I'm cool. But the thing is, like, Blue Beetle has been shot in that pre-DCU feel. And same thing with the Aquaman 2, which has heavy influence from the visual vomit of Zack Snyder,
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of weird that they're going to have a reset and then have a couple movies that are still really strong with that DCEU vibe, which I would assume, unless they got a lot of post-production, Suicide Squad shit going on where they're,
right.
or a Justice League, going in there and bumping up the color. Like, I don't know. But yeah, that one concerns me the most is Aquaman 2. And not because of What's-Her-Face being in it and shit. But just the fact that how's the story going to hold up when there's a complete reset? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's going to play another character in DC, which there's some implying going on that he...
Right.
My bad, I'm making money over here and shit. There's some implying going on that there's some talks about Lobo. Him being that character, he looks fucking picture perfect for that character. To be honest,
it's like slap some like face paint on him.
Yeah, some face paint. Don't even have to do his hair; just let him go.
Yeah,
he's already fucking like yoked and big, and he's all like broed out and shit, and perfect. And he seems super happy about whatever the fuck.
Whatever they talked about.
He
was just yep.
He's like, oh my god, this is it, So it definitely wasn't Aquaman, because he even made a comment where he's like, no, it's not anything to do with this, and he was referencing like Aquaman and shit like that. So yeah, and we talked about it on the previous show where like after he left that meeting, he was like, somebody was asking him a question really loud, and the look he gave him,
he was giddy.
He's like, I want to tell you, but I can't. Like, fuck you, stop asking me and shit. So, I mean, we'll see with that, but the Aquaman 2 concerns me personally just for the storytelling aspect of it, and I think it's a bad, first step. However, I understand you just can't toss $200 million away or whatever the fuck it costs to make that money or make that movie, so got to make some money off of it, and I think he had to do some finagling to get the Flash and Aquaman to fit in there just because it's already, what's done is done,
Right.
After Waller, this is where he says the true DCU start is... this is essentially right in the center of all these releases, actually. But the one I'm most excited for is the James Gunn written Superman Legacy. And he already did give a date of July 11th, 2025, which is fucking insane. Where you're not even... he said he's about halfway done with the script. And they already have a release date.
That's bold. I mean, it's probably going to get pushed back.
100%. That's just going to be a 2026 movie or some shit.
Yeah, at the minimum.
But we got a tweet that he pumped out afterwards where he was during the footage, which you can check out on Twitter, James Gunn DC, you'll see him. But he did throw out some comics that he was referencing, some writers that he was referencing that they were like his personal favorites and stuff. All-Star Superman was a reference that he made for the vibe that they're going for Superman. So I mean, I'm excited for Superman Legacy because this is really where like the reset for me happens in terms of the vibe, like where they're going to go, the inspiration. So that's my thing. I'm big into that one. Next one on here is an HBO series called Lanterns. This one's going to feature Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart and a terrestrial-based True Detective space cop show. It says that the show is going to be kind of the catalyst of the remaining storytelling of that first whatever the chapters or 3 chapters.
It's gonna introduce something for the rest of like the movies. Some
mystery, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like they stumble across something that's the big baddie 20 movies down the line, you know what I mean? So that's where you're going to start getting the coinciding between the shows and the movies. That was one, I mean, that's why he mentioned it, right? Is that the main influence for the remaining films are going to come from the television series, you know what I mean? So you gotta watch it all. You gotta buy your HBO Max subscriptions. Or Max, whatever they're going to call it after their
yeah.
Wildstorm Comics' The Authority, a group of heroes who feel the world is broken and aim to fix it by any means necessary.
I've never heard of this comic, but like it gives me a vibe of like what if the Justice League just had no like morals? Not necessarily morals, but like oh look, we don't give a shit about anything like
Rules
doing
and laws.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
rule. Yeah, it's
just
like we're
get it
like,
done.
all right, this shit needs to happen, and this is the correct way, and I don't care if I kill anyone or
Yeah,
anything like that. Like I'm just
it's
gonna get it
basically
done.
like the concept. If I'm not mistaken, I apologize if you know more out there, but like when it comes down to like this, the drive for this team is like they are essentially like if the Avengers did go with these like Sokovia Accords and
Right,
became a police force for the UN.
right,
So that's what these characters, if I'm not mistaken, the Authority is the kind of a little abrasive group of superhumans who work on behalf of their higher authority, like a government or world government type thing.
right.
So that's kind of where that one's gonna go. I don't know with the whole like creature commandos and all these like offshoot groups. I think that's where people are concerned, is that he sees like another opportunity to make like Guardians, right, where you take some obscure
Yeah,
group and turn them into superstars type shit. So I mean, we'll see. I know nothing about that character. I know it's not necessarily the most popular comic book, which is also concerning. Where it's like, did he choose it because he already was looking for something that's
right.
obscure and weird?
Right. He's
And
trying to find like that flash in the pan kind of.
yeah, then it's like, yeah, that's trying a little too hard. It's like I think storytelling would probably be your best approach. Which he said, story is key. So I mean, I trust him. Whatever, we'll see.
Yeah.
Next one is Paradise Lost, the TV series of Themyscira. It's supposed to be a Game of Thrones style TV show based on where Wonder Woman comes from, right? And I believe it's supposed to be like
Right.
a prequel. So which is why they don't have what's her name coming back, Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Yeah.
So it's supposed to take place just kind of like the struggle of powers and things like that on the island of the Amazonians. Could be cool. I mean, I've always said
Yeah.
that Star Wars should take a Game of Thrones type of approach.
Yeah.
In the Old Republic, could go way back and make it
That would-
more of like a struggle type.
I think we all would enjoy that.
Be amazing.
Like, I think everyone has. That's like one of the big things everyone has always asked for, especially in Star Wars, is
Yeah.
an old Republic.
There's some deep, rich, aggressive storytelling where
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God, you don't know who's going to be knocked out. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You do that in like the Star Wars world where it's like before the quaint empire was running
Right.
things, like this is really how things are handled. Like that'd be totally cool,
Yeah.
So hopefully it's something like that. Maybe it's taken seriously, maybe it's not. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could end up being, terrible. One of the Ring of Power type of situations. We don't know.
You're right.
Then the next one, which was probably the biggest one for most people, was Batman: Brave and the Bold. This is based off of a comic series that focuses on Damian Wayne as Robin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know how that whole thing.
Yeah.
'Cause you have like
I'm
Dick
familiar.
Grayson, and then you have
Yep.
yeah.
So Damian Wayne is the son of Talia and Bruce, and then basically he was raised by the League of Shadows, League of Shadows, and then like he then comes to live with Bruce, and he basically is already an accomplished assassin, and like at like the age of 10, and he basically now as Bruce is trying to like teach him like the actual like
how to be a Robin,
how to be
good
social
version.
and how to be Robin, how to like
Yeah.
like everything is not like you're just not gonna brutally kill everyone or like whatever torture people to get what you want. Like you need to like be very like smart about what you're doing, and just like there's other ways of doing business.
I don't know about the dichotomy between those characters. You know what I mean? I don't know like if he's
Well,
trying to
there's
kill
like a
him, or
there's like a different like power struggle between Batman and Damian, and the fact that like because like he's like I said he's already like an accomplished like assassin. He has Bruce Wayne's like intellect, and he also has like the access to the League of Shadows.
Mhm.
So like he's gonna have a very skewed view of the world, and They're like I can just do anything I want because I can just
And he
kill
does
you at
rock
any
a
time.
sword, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he does as Robin running around with a sword and shit, which is like, like
Right.
normally they use batons and shit, but
Yeah.
yeah, like my thing, I don't know if like he's there to kill Bruce, and like because I saw like a cover where like he's behind Batman and it looks like he's about to like chop his head off and shit. Yeah, and for like the people that don't know like how the whole thing works, there's been multiple Robins, right? It's like none of them have been his kid. It started with Dick Grayson, you know, the I think it's a trapeze artist or
Yeah,
or I forget what it is,
trapeze
you know, they're
yeah.
gymnasts essentially, or you know, circus.
Yep. Circus.
Parents die. Bruce takes him in, becomes Robin, yada yada. Grows out of the Robin role and becomes Nightwing. And Nightwing's a pretty dope character, you know, and you know has been in Titans and has his own comic runs and cartoons and
been Batman.
yeah, he's been Batman, you know, like he's filled that role.
He is the closest thing I think anyone can compare to like anyone being Batman.
Because he's been there the longest.
He's been there the longest. He's done it like he runs. I think it's called Bloodhaven. Is like the town he lives in, like which is like a neighboring city of Gotham.
So he's got like his own thing on him.
Yeah, he does his own thing.
So then he aged out, and Batman needs another Robin, and he picks up Jason Todd. I know the outcome of Jason Todd.
I think this is everyone's favorite.
This is everyone's favorite
Robins because of the stories and everything.
And,
but yeah,
and spoilers, you know, it's pretty sadistic, like comic and even like the video or the animation.
Yeah.
But Joker kidnaps Jason Todd. It's a kid.
Yeah.
Brutally tortures and then blows him up. Batman gets there just in time to see it happen, and it's like a travesty and shit. Time passes, and then he gets, I think, Timothy Drake, right?
Yeah, Tim Drake.
So he gets Tim Drake, which is another Robin, and he's training him up and stuff like that. And then randomly, this villain pops up, donned with a red helmet. Super dope helmet. It's like one of the best character designs. If I'm not mistaken, there's like Batman's engaging and
it's in like a chase scene.
Yeah, Red Hood is like blocking and dodging every single thing that like Batman throws at him, like preemptively. Like he knows what he's gonna do and all this shit. And it throws off Batman, and eventually finds out that it's Jason Todd back from the dead. He didn't die. He survived somehow.
He did like a bunch of like in the movie, like the Red Hood, like how he finds out is like Jason is talking to him, they're across a subway and a train goes by, and they're like he knew his name. He knew, he was like, oh, you're just the same Bruce, and like, but you couldn't hear it. And then like Bruce does all his detective shit and like.
Under the Red Hood was that one, right?
Yeah, Under the Red Hood.
That's fucking good animation.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best like DC like animations. But yeah, but he's like, oh, he knew exactly how to like cut my wires.
Yeah, like, he went around like his ankle, and he knew exactly like how to hit it and shit.
He's like, there's no way like any normal person can cut this. Like they had to know like it's this type of metal. Yeah, and like
it's super good, super good. Yeah. And the way it works out, if I'm not mistaken, he becomes part of the Bat family, right? And gets back in with them. He was being like coerced, I think, or there was something going on there. It's a really good story, but essentially Jason Todd comes back, is like the dopest looking character of the Bat family.
So basically he gets revived by the Lazarus Pit from the League of Shadows, and if anyone doesn't know, whenever you get revived or just healed by the Lazarus Pit, it alters your brain, and it definitely like messes with you.
And that's why Ra's al Ghul is like losing his fucking mind.
You're like
shit.
Right, you're more like primal, you're more, like aggressive, and your brain is not thinking clearly.
Yeah. And that's why he was acting out and doing all that like crazy shit, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Then you're gonna have Robin, whether it's Timothy Drake or whether, they're going to play the whole Red Hood angle. Like, it might be Timothy Drake, like being older, becoming Red Robin, and then you maybe already have Red Hood established. I think that'd be a wasted opportunity. Like, I just want to see a dope Red Hood in live action. That'd be sick. But at the very least, you're going to have a Nightwing, right? So you're going to have an older Dick Grayson. If it's going to be focusing on Damian Wayne, obviously,
yeah,
you're going to have that. And they scrapped Titans, right? So that they could have that freed up a little bit. My issue is they did actually a pretty good job at making him look like the character. So it's going to be rough. It's going to be hard kind of pulling people over, right? Probably cutting their losses because not too many people watch that show. But
yeah, I mean, it's on HBO right now.
HBO, yeah.
That's it.
But you're going to have a live action, actual big boy version of Nightwing. And that costume would probably look sick. Hopefully it has the extendable batons.
I hope so. They just got to do a lot of these characters justice.
Yeah. And hopefully he's the one that does it. Then he did throw out a tweet in reference to what you should read on that one. Is Batman by Grant Morrison. Omnibus Volume 1. Is something that he referenced in terms of the vibe that you want to get. Next one is Booster Gold TV series. People that don't know who Booster Gold is a time-traveling idiot. Comes from the future with basic everyday technology that's common in his time, and then uses it to become a superhero.
Basically a futuristic con man.
Yeah, essentially. But essentially it's going to be a comedy superhero, show. Probably something like Invincible, where he gets his ass kicked frequently. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's just an idiot, and you'll grow to love him, And then when you see him shoulder to shoulder with bigger characters, it's going to be like Ant-Man bopping in on the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see with that. A lot of people are excited about that one because he's kind of a cult, classic type of.
Okay, so he Booster Gold was in Smallville. Apparently,
I think I do remember it, but it being like pretty cringy.
Yeah, but Donald Faison played Booster Gold in the 7th season of the Arrowverse, in Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow, yeah, that's the show that's like bringing all the characters together. And so yeah, Booster Gold. I mean, like we said, it's gonna be kind of a stupid series. We'll see how funny it is. I don't know who's writing that one. I don't think there's any plans for anybody yet. But that one's further down the line, probably in 2026, right? Then you got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, raised on a chunk of Krypton to watch everyone she knows dies and becomes jaded and kind of bitter. So a slightly different take, but this is a more recent storyline that's being written, has actual comic series.
I haven't read this part of the comic.
Saw the artwork. It's certainly not your 80s Supergirl movie, and it's a little bit more bloody and more adult and stuff like that. So we'll see. I mean, technically, she's supposed to be stronger than Superman. You know what I mean? She's developed and in her ways when she meets him. You know what I mean? So it's like, she's supposed to be shoulder to shoulder with Superman in terms of strength and all that stuff. So. We'll see. Maybe it'll be some family scuffles, and we'll see that story flesh out. But that one's pretty far down the line, well after the Superman movie drops. So
yeah, definitely one of the later things he announced.
Yeah.
So the last one, if it's chronological.
Yeah. He did kind of say, then we're going into this, we're going into this. We are running long. I do apologize, but this was pretty big news, and I don't have too much to talk about in terms of the Netflix shit. Just that it sucks. Yeah. But the last one here is Swamp Thing, and it's supposed to be a horror film. I am all for these comic book companies dabbling in horror and drama and noir type films. You know what I mean? Like getting a little wacky with the theme of these movies.
I mean, we've already now seen Marvel enter that space, and for my opinion, it was a really good short film.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can go even more. I think they can go full.
I think so too. I think horror. It was more of just hey, this is what we're testing the waters here. Yeah. What do you guys think? And
because what do you think? Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of goofy still. Had a little bit of a B movie flair to it, and there was some.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a horror film. You know what I mean? It had horror roots,
Yeah.
They did go B movie route, classic B movie, because it lightens the mood a little bit. But
Right.
I'm talking about where you really truly fear that character in the movie. You know what I mean? Like an Aliens level horror film. Where it's like action
Super
horror.
suspenseful.
Yeah. So I think they could hit that. I mean, it is HBO for Christ's sake. If anybody could do it, it'd be like HBO or like, I don't know, Showtime or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cinemax. But it's one of those things where I think James Gunn is more than willing to actually get in there and let some creativity run, and that's what DC needs thoroughly. Because I mean, it was established on a weak foundation of Zack Snyder's filmography, a very ugly, dated level of CGI and visuals that carried over and kind of infected the movies to come. Like I said, with Flash and Aquaman, it's the same shit. Where it's like, I'm concerned that infection is still going to be lingering. So we will see. But that was pretty much it. That was announced by James Gunn. He did some typical James Gunn fuckery on Twitter and poking at people and clarifying things, but pretty straightforward. And he was super excited. So
and instantly had the Snyder nerd stands.
Yeah.
Up in arms,
calling him a pedo and shit, and doing all this and all that, and
it's
like, oh my god,
funny.
But there's one thing that I did want to comment on, is that this is undeniable at this point. Foolish and naive and ridiculous if you think otherwise, but the Snyderverse is dead, like 100%. Buried in the ground. The tombstone's already up. Like, it is done. It's done. There's no hope, and we're talking about an extensive list of films. Maybe if he wants to bring in some Elseworld shit, but I don't think he's going to do that, because he knows that the people that want that are the ones that are also making his life like a living hell.
I mean, I guess you could say the last remnants of the Snyderverse is probably going to be the Flash and Aquaman.
Yeah, I mean, that's where that feel's going to linger.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just can't get rid of that. They have to go through with it because the money's spent. So you can clearly see that as soon as that's done, it's like, he's off. he's off. He's off in the races. He's
making his trash Star Wars
Rebel Moon and shit. But yeah, with like James Gunn, it's like you could tell once he's free and off the leash, it's like Superman and then out is going to be completely different. And
I mean, we've already had a taste of James Gunn in the DC with the second Suicide Squad movie,
which was still a little bland looking visually, and I think that was kind of like,
but I mean, like, it
was
better than the first one.
Yeah. I think James Gunn is going to slowly creep into more striking visuals and colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like you watch Black Adam, it's like, well, they're in Egypt, so everything has to look like orange. So the entire movie looks orange, and then it's like, oh, well, Batman v Superman, it's all dark, but, we need to be able to see, so let's just make it blue. So the entire movie's like blue. It's like, motherfucker, stop doing that. Like, just stop making these weird color grades on these films and sticking to it. And that's a Snyder thing. Same thing with 300, right? It's like the entire movie looked orange. It's like, we'll see how this all goes, but that's pretty much it for the DC 2023 to 2026 slate, announced by James Gunn. Then we got this Netflix business, right?
Yeah, so earlier this week, Netflix announced that they're requiring users to log on to primary Wi-Fi locations once a month in order to keep using their account, otherwise it'll be locked. So all these people that were traveling, living, for a living, or college students, or anyone, away from home, go on like a long ass vacation, they're gonna have to log on. They're only gonna get it for a month, and then they're gonna have to log on to their wherever they signed into. There was a huge backlash for hearing that, and then Netflix later this week came out and said, "Oh, we're only testing it in our Latin America
it's just a prank, bro.
Countries." Yeah. They're like, "Oh shit! Oh no! Oh god!" So I don't know. This is coming from the company that said, love is sharing a password, and it's like that's word for word what they said.
It
And
was like
all of a
5 years
sudden,
ago when they said that
yeah,
too. It wasn't even
it's
like
like
it wasn't
not
even like
even like
2006 or
super
whatever,
long.
you know?
Yeah, it's very recent in like the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's the thing. It's like parents pissed off being like, so my kid going to college and living there for 3 months at a time means that they're no longer like part of my
able to
family and shit. Like,
able to
what?
use. So but like I don't know, it's part of the pricing. Like if say you are paying the premium $20 a month, like you should, it says that you have you're supported up to 4 devices at a time.
Mhm.
Now like why can't I do that and stay on that
Yeah. Now
and
it's 4
be
devices in the same house.
right, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's a bad move because they just simply, and we had talked about this where it's like it's investors always looking for increased profits, and
right,
it's just that's the thing with like publicly traded companies, and I mean, I'm definitely not like bad mouthing capitalism in general, but that is the downside of capitalism is like eventually you reach a point where it's you need to do other things to make
how
more
are we going to
money.
make more money?
We can't make better content apparently, so we're gonna have to start stringing these customers out for more money, and
Yeah,
essentially what they see is like, oh well, if little Timmy's going off to college, then little Timmy's gonna have to pay for his own Netflix account. It's
yeah.
like, all right, well, Timmy's mom was paying for his Netflix account, so Timmy's just not gonna have fucking Netflix. You know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly. It's like he's a
And
broke ass college student.
Timmy's a college student who knows how to navigate the internet and find anything that he needs to find if necessary.
Yep.
So let's keep that in mind. That was my discussion
Yeah,
with you earlier.
exactly.
It was like they have to understand that they were given a grace. It's like this was a choice on behalf of people who were freely downloading and pirating the shit out of whatever they wanted, to being like, you know what? I don't have to do the downloading, and streaming is kind of convenient. I can watch it on my phone. I'll just pay the $6 a month or whatever. That was like back then, $7 or whatever. So they did it. And at that point, there was no HBO Max, there was no Hulu, maybe Hulu, but there was no Disney Plus.
Hulu wasn't what it was.
Hulu was like
then.
watching TV, but on a computer,
Yeah.
Had a fuck ton of ads, and you could pay to get rid of some of the ads or something, and it was a different beast. So it's like Netflix was king, and by this point, it was kind of like gifted to them by people that could easily find what they needed to elsewhere. And I think pretty much every content creator that I've seen that's commenting on it is like, oh, we're just going to revert back to that. And essentially that is what's going to happen.
You're literally going to make people go back to just like, oh, I'm going to illegally download this or, pirate it, and then just like I'll go away from the services and I can get just as good as quality, and I don't have to fucking pay for anything.
Yep. And, I don't have to be region locked. I can watch, shit from
that's another
countries.
thing. Like obviously with like people using like VPNs and stuff, and like saying they're in Germany when they're in Florida, and then being able to unlock whatever Germany has on their Netflix.
Well, it was like yesterday. I saw something on the internet on Twitter. Somebody had mentioned, War of the Worlds is now on HBO Max. I'm like, I'll watch some fucking War of the Worlds and shit. And like, shit gets crazy once the tripods pop out.
Right.
Like, I'll watch that
Yeah.
shit. And then I logged on there and I typed it in. I was like, it's not there. You know what I mean? Like, none of the videos that this was listing is on here. And I was like, this is a brand new tweet. It turns out it was most likely a different region that this person was reporting on, and they're getting all these movies that I couldn't watch. It's kind of frustrating when they're doing that and expecting people to just be like, oh well, I guess I just won't watch the movie I want to watch for a month.
Right.
It's like,
exactly.
You get a motivated individual, they're going to go find that fucking movie and shit. And it's probably not going to be at Walmart and shit. So that's you were talking about like the having to log in on the home router and
the main like wherever your account was created.
Yeah, and I think it's Hulu that does that. My chick said where she has to, when she goes over to her mom's house multiple times a month, so all she has to do is like log in while there, and it carries over and it's fine. But it's kind of like and they put that in there. I think they put it in their TOS, and then they had to like take it back. They're like, oh, that was a mistake. It wasn't supposed to go.
Like I was saying, it was part of the test run or something like that in Latin America and a few countries, and
it was a mistake that it crept in the U.S. TOS,
yeah,
and they removed it from U.S. for now, that type of thing. So
right. But they definitely got a huge uproar and with customers and people just super unsatisfied with.
I mean, they're fucking around right now, and they will find out. Like, they
exactly.
Like,
I swear that meme is like so true for so many things right now.
Like, they've overstayed their welcome. They've now switched gears to exploitation and stringing out their customers, wringing them out, I should say, for everything they got, every drop of money that they can spare. And statistically, they feel that they'll make at least enough to make it worth it. You know, they'll gain enough new subscribers to offset the number of users that will no longer be using their service. They'll probably be looking at bandwidth usage and cost for that, saving them money. You know, it's just, there's other factors at hand, but really it comes down to them fucking over customers. And
you know. I mean, I personally don't use Netflix all that much. It's my fiance. Like, she binge watches a lot of stuff, and I occasionally, like, whenever a comedy special of a comedian that I like comes out, because they always do all their deals through them, or like an actual show that I'm interested in, I'll binge watch it. Wednesday, you know, Arcane, when it came out, like, that was something that was really good, and I was interested in.
Yet. I know that
it's a legit story. It's a good, like, the animation is really good. I would definitely just watch it, and just
that's my thing, is
whether you have any recollection or, you know, knowledge of the, you know, League of Legends verse, like, it's a good show just to watch.
I've just been running through a list of things that I never watched on Netflix, and was like, oh, I'll just watch it all now and fuck it. and then I won't need it, and then whatever I do need, I'll just go find it somewhere.
Right.
I mean, I guess their thing is they have a lot more, like, interesting documentaries. That's my thing. I'm a documentary nut, so I do like the whole, like, you know, finding killers and you know, the one I watched the other day was where's my jet, Pepsi, or Pepsi, where's my jet?
Oh my god, yes.
It's a really good documentary.
Just hearing that story was hilarious.
Yeah. Hey, dude, the ending to that just gutted me. Like, I was like, where's that motherfucker's jet? God damn it. You know? Like, that fool deserves a jet. But yeah, fascinating documentaries. That's their, like, strong suit. Not too many people like documentaries, but I'll go out and look at them.
I enjoy documentaries because
I love them a lot. And that one had, like, a humor to it, where I was, like, actually laughing at some of the shit that they were squeezing in and, like, referencing and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, so this is a good one. So aside from that, and me personally, Buster Scruggs, it's like one of my favorite things. I love that movie. But there's not much on Netflix to keep you there, and you know, that's going to be a big realization to them in the near future if they keep fucking around. So, but yeah, every week we do a free game segment, games that we track down that are free or heavily discounted, and we like to share them. This week, Epic Game Store, free until February 9th, is City of Gangsters. It's a mob-run isometric city builder tycoon game, kind of like Sim City or that type of thing. I guess it would be more of like Tropico, where it's a builder, but you're based on some type of premise. This one being like mob, you know, the mob makes money to make a city, type of thing. So I might actually play that on stream.
I was gonna look into downloading it because, like, it seemed interesting. So yeah, I'll have to take a look.
I mean, just, you know, and my recommendation is that when these free games pop up on Epic, just buy them, because you buy them for $0, you know, and they'll get put in your library, and one day when you're bored, you might run across some free time
you want to download.
Oh shit, I'll play it. But yeah, that one is like I said, free until February 9th, and as well free until February 9th is Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. That's the game that I mentioned last week, where there's a decent game coming along for free on Epic Game Store. That's an action stealth FPS. If you don't know what Dishonored is, I mean, they have like 4 games by this point, you know?
Yeah.
Sneak around, creep around, stealth attacks, and you know, kind of superhuman ability type thing. Steampunk vibe mixed with, you know, like cyberpunk almost. Good shit. It is free, so go ahead and take advantage of that one for sure. I think it's like a $40 game, $30 game. So
right.
But yeah, that is it for this week's free and heavily discounted games that I managed to track down. I'm sure there's some others out there, but it's just it's like I don't want to mention this game being 20% off or this game being like 30% off. I'm looking for like 90% off.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah. Get into the roundup. There are a few. We'll fire through these because we did take some time on the DC stuff, but after intense backlash, Wizards of the Coast completely scraps changes to their OGL 1.0.
Once again, they fucked around and they found out.
I mean, they cowered pretty quick. It
was within like a week, week and a half. They were like, "Oh shit, our nerd following is actually."
It just comes off as sketch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's sketch that they tried it and then they back off. It's like, when are they going to try again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the very least, people are saved. We had speculated as to whether or not they're.
I don't know though. I think the damage is done, and like people are going to start looking for other,
they will
genres of, games.
It'll be your World of Warcraft type situation. Just the longevity of its existence is just going to far outweigh anything anybody else can offer. So, we'll see, but really, it's a matter of them cowering to the public outcry, which is always nice.
Right.
New trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie releases, featuring Seth Rogen with a very Seth Rogen voice as Donkey Kong.
I need to watch the trailer. I haven't watched it yet. So.
It is just Seth Rogen talking. And
that's hilarious.
Doing his laugh and shit. So exactly, you die. Yeah. That's the scene. You don't even need to watch.
Right.
If you know Seth Rogen's voice, you could just put it in there. It's like fucking Sausage Party and shit. But he's a donkey.
Right. Okay.
Netflix releases new poster for One Piece live action series featuring a 2023 release window, sending fans of the series into PTSD-induced panic attacks.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if they do anything like they did with Cowboy Bebop,
Death Note.
Yeah, Death Note.
I like Death Note a lot. Like the anime is dope.
Oh yeah,
very cool.
As a top-notch anime.
But the show, the movie,
like all those, like Cowboy Bebop, One Piece, Death Note, like all those are like top tier.
Cowboy
animes.
Bebop, I took personally.
Yeah,
that one, I took that one personally because it's like, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? This is sacrilege. Like, what is wrong with you? You don't do this. It's trash. And the creator of it was just like, from what I saw, it just wasn't Cowboy Bebop. It's like, he's like, I have to be involved.
Like even the actors were like, I'm pretty pissed off at this.
They were gung ho at it, but it was really bad. It was like it was like Speed Racer, but without like the tongue in cheek. It's like and it was fun, visually fun, wacky, and then they're trying to make like Cowboy Bebop like that. And it's like, I don't know. It's not landing. Like, I got more of like a gritty, almost like space noir type vibe from Cowboy Bebop. You kind of felt a little dirty after you watched it. Not because of anything being shown, just because the world you lived in always felt like, I don't know, claustrophobic and dirty.
Right.
Star Wars vibe. This one was not Star Wars vibe. It was like it was like fucking Speed Racer and shit. Fuck that movie. American Truck Simulator announces new Kansas DLC. I'm not sure if you've played American Truck Simulator.
I have not. I've seen like random like streams and like videos of it, but like
I might hop on some tonight.
Not my cup of tea. But
like my second beer, I think I might hop into some American Truck Simulator and shit. Start barreling through intersections and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kansas DLC. They have pretty much the entirety of the West Coast.
That like some of these people that are driving are like top tier.
Well, they got like big ass rigs and shit. Like not just typical racing rig, but they got like
they got like the it looks like a truck inside their rooms.
Gigantic shifters on it and shit. And they do have like 14-point shifting and shit.
Yeah, it's like goddamn.
Oh yeah, I've been driving for about 45 years. Like now I stream and shit.
Yeah.
They got a multiplayer aspect to it too, if need be. But
got you.
That's how that is. So Kansas DLC coming in. You have some nice flat environment to drive. Next one here. Sony cuts production for the new PSVR 2 headset by half as pre-orders underperform. I mean, it would have been something that I would get if I got a PS5, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like the more affordable, and I think you can like carry it over to PC if you do some fuckery with it.
Okay.
But all in all, it's one of the more affordable and more flushed out headsets, you know?
Right. I mean, I don't think the original PSVR was it. I'm kind of speaking out of my ass about this. Like, I don't know if it was successful or not. I know I've used it. Some of my friends have the PSVR. Like, it's fun. It's all right.
The novelty still by this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Their issue is movement, you know? Just lateral movement. And just
Right. I
how does
mean,
it feel?
a lot of the games on PSVR you can get on your Oculus or anything like that. So
Yeah.
like, I would rather go to the superior.
The new. I mean, fuck Oculus. Don't even mention that shit. Nothing meta, dude. No meta.
Well,
ever.
whatever the like you can easily get for your PC or whatever.
The
Like,
Vive. They have the HTC Vive now, the new one.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's got like face pads and shit. It's like these big cheek pads that like hanging over your face, and
that's
they look hideous. And the thing is, like, the tracking on that is supposed to be like the best. So I mean, I don't know too much about VR headsets just because I don't have the room to have like 10 square feet of open area to do this. So it's like you got to dedicate a room to it, or have like gigantic living room where you can move shit out of the way, and I have neither. So my thing is like walking through a dark room and not seeing something that hits me in my shin.
Right.
Like, that's like my thing. Like when I'm like walking in the living room or like the bedroom at night, and it's like, don't hit your fucking shin on this shit because I just die. You know what I mean? So like that's my concern.
Accidentally kick my dog or something.
Like step on tails and shit.
Yeah.
And like, that's my thing. Is like I'm scared of like what I'm gonna do to my surroundings because I can't. Because you just casually move like half a foot forward here and then half a foot forward here, you know, and then next thing you know you're dry humping the wall and shit. You don't even know it, you know. So it's like that's my concern with VR headsets is like I don't know how my boomer brain would react and shit. So you know, I'll have one day. We'll see. Next one, King of the Hill revival announced to premiere on Hulu and features the original cast. I don't know. I mean, Beavis and Butthead was funny, but it's out of time. You know what I mean? It's like,
we'll see. I mean, I'll probably watch it just to see it and then
move on.
Yeah.
See what's up. I mean, are they going to age the characters up? Then it's going to be weird.
Exactly.
Like fucking Rugrats.
Like all these people have been goddamn haven't done anything for however many years.
Except for Boomhauer. So we'll see if it's like right back into the same shoes that we're in and all this and all that. It's like how does the time lapse? Because just culture in general is going to be so different, and the reactions to what's going on is going to be so different. So we'll see. I don't know. Mike Judge kind of digging in the barrel right now. He's pulling out whatever he can.
Exactly.
So. And you got to make that bag while you still can.
Yep.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor is delayed until April 28th. My thing is this acceptable once you start taking pre-orders?
I mean, I don't. It's hard to say. Like, I know, like, everyone there was like it was like mixed emotions about this. I don't think so. I think once you start taking but like you can take pre-orders pretty damn early.
That's their choice. That is their choice. That they want to take pre-orders so early in advance so they can report to their shareholders. Hey, look, we're up X amount of percentage. Yeah. You know, like that's their choice. Like my concern. I think my gripe is the fact that once you start taking money for something and there's an expectation of something being delivered, you
better hit that deadline.
You got to hit it. There is no more. So it's like just stop taking pre-orders until you're 100% positive. And then you're fearing like legal recourse if you've taken money and you start changing the stipulation and the It's just that's my thing. I don't care about delays. I think they need to take however long they need to take.
Yeah, if you're gonna delay it, I guess I do have an issue with taking pre-orders in because if you're gonna delay it, like fuck, I already paid you, $70-$80 depending on $90 depending on what version I got. You know, like I want this shit, and if you're not ready, like what the fuck.
And then you got people where it's like, oh, well, I expected the game. It said the game for a year. It said the game was going to drop the first week of spring break and shit, and I wanted to like spend, my spring break playing this shit and playing with friends and all that. And then they go and change it to where, it's going to come out a month later. So you're sitting there. they got the bag. You got no game. But it's like, that's my thing, where it's like, there's just an expectation. Sometimes people manipulate their existence just so that they can enjoy something that they've paid for or expected and shit. So that's my thing. Don't take pre-orders if you can't live up to that date. And there should be like legal recourse, false advertising type shit going on if they start moving the goalposts. So.
I mean, sucks for you. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, so.
Yeah. Dave Bautista addresses rumors of him playing Bane in James Gunn's DCU and states he's just too old to carry on with everything it takes to play a role like that.
Yeah,
and Gunn is looking for a younger cast.
If you like hit him up like 10 years ago or something, I mean, like Dave Bautista's in his 50s now.
Yeah, dude, and
like
he's looking a little thick as Drax these days. You know what I mean? He's a little. I don't say bloated,
he just had his like new movie that came out on Netflix,
on the Cabin Door or whatever,
which was not very good.
I've heard people saying otherwise until this morning when I saw somebody saying it's a C rating and shit. It's like, yeah. That sounds like an M. Night movie.
Yeah, I mean, like most of the reviews I've seen is like between like a 5 and a 7.
Yeah, damn,
like review. So
that's an M. Night movie, though. Yeah, that's just how it is. My thing is though that Batista seems like one of 2 wrestlers that have gone actors, actually trying to expand their abilities as actors. The Rock. He's got his notoriety. He's utilized the medium for what he needed it for, which is exposure, and now he's exploiting and utilizing that exposure to make his money. And he considers himself like a crowd draw, and he puts butts in seats, but he doesn't have anything to like really offer in terms of like
no real acting chops.
Yeah, and you got Batista over here squeezing out tears and trying to do like emotional scenes, and he completely different role in Blade Runner, the follow-up to that. He played a serious role, and it's. I mean, even in
his newest movie, and in Glass Onion, and he was in there.
It's just you got Cena and you got Batista in my mind. Yeah. In terms of the actors gone, or the wrestlers gone actors who actually have some drive to be better actors because they see it as a different level of their talent and career to aspire to. They hit what they needed to hit with the wrestling ring, and now they want to go further. The Rock just utilized what he had to make money, and he did it. Now I heard he's talking about video games, video game movie adaptations and shit. It's like, this fool gonna do fucking like Worms and shit, Balloons TDM fucking live action movie and shit. But that's what he said basically. He's like, I don't want to deal with that schedule, that rigorous fucking movie buff man schedule.
Like I said, you do 10, 15 years ago when he first started.
Yeah, he's hungry for it. He's wanting to fucking bleed for it. But now he's like, fucking backwards, bro. I don't know about all that. Epic Games' multiplayer brawler game Rumbleverse already shutting down after just 6 months. A game we here have actually advertised items for in the free game segment.
This is interesting because like I've seen streams of this and like people are popping off and like having so much fun.
You look like fun. This is the one where it's kind of like a BR game where you get like shot off in like a cannon, right, to like land and
you're like a wrestler and you have like wrestling moves. Yeah, you have like wrestling moves that you do to like.
You get gloves and you get power-ups and you do slams and tosses and belly flops. And I look fine. I've seen Lyric play it tons of times, but insane. Just randomly out of the blue being like, oh, we're just not going to support it anymore. We're done. It's like, bro, it's been 6 months. Huh? What the fuck? I just got a free download from my Twitch Prime calendar.
Exactly. And like, obviously, like, they're, going to, refund money
which is insane. Like that itself is insane.
It's like why what went down? Yeah, exactly. What went down?
I need to know.
Yeah, we need this tea.
The people want answers. Crazy. The game looked good, looked functional, looked fine, and then the developers were just like, yeah, thanks for the support, appreciate it, we're gonna refund you and we're out.
That was like when you and I were playing, like, what was it called, like Spellcasters or something like that? where it's like the magic version, like a
I
like
remember
you
that.
got. I forget
I forget
what
what
it
it
was,
was.
if that was called, but like I think that one like is shutting down too, or shut
Really?
down.
I mean, that one, if that one's in the process of shutting down, it outlived this
Yeah,
by like threefold.
yeah,
So I mean, this is 6 months is insane.
yeah,
I'm over here being like, damn, they're shutting down Marvel's Avengers after
yeah.
like two
Right
and a half
after,
years, and these motherfuckers are like, bro, like 6 months.
6 months.
We got
Like,
this shit. We're done. A number of prominent Latino directors and producers like Guillermo del Toro and Diego Luna have been targets of a scam. An individual posing as them has been reaching out to aspiring industry talent like writers and stuff, directors, with promises in exchange for financial contributions to their non-existent film project.
like this is hilarious.
Not even just sending out like basic emails and shit, like
No, like
full-blown,
he was like
"Get me on the
calling
phone
people.
and
Yeah,
let's have a meeting," that type of
Right.
shit. So insane. I guess this person's been kind of prolific in this scam
yeah.
scene.
Like I was reading this. Like he had like like he would call from like 3 different numbers,
Hmm.
and like one was like based in like UK and like other other regions. Like he was extensive with
Yeah, a lot of
the
pre-planning
scamming.
going on.
Yeah.
A lot of premeditation going on in this one. So that sucks. I mean, if you're a writer out there, just don't accept any emails from Diego Luna.
Like
or Guillermo
make
del
sure it's
Toro and shit.
legit.
Yeah. None of the major 3 brands will be making an appearance at this year's E3 conference. So no Nintendo, no Xbox, and no Sony PlayStation at E3.
I mean, like, don't they already not show up? Like, so they're not even gonna have like booths or anything.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do their whole like Nintendo day where 4 blocks away they have their own
Right.
little setup, and then 3 miles away or 10 miles away
Right.
Xbox has their setup on Venice
That's
Beach. And
I mean, like if that doesn't happen, like that's interesting.
I mean, there's so little that, I mean, we just got a taste from Microsoft last week or whatever, and it was
Right.
pathetic. So it's like, I
Right,
don't know what
so-
they have to offer.
Right.
This might just be a complete sit out type thing, which, I mean, to be honest, that's what E3 was back in the day. Back
Right.
when it was blocked off and the only way you could see inside was through like G4. Back then it was industry professionals, people that were developers,
Yeah. And now
game
it's
writers,
just
level
anyone.
designers, producers, publicists. They'd all go there and rub shoulders and set up deals and, the shit that you want if you're a small creator and want to like expand. And then it became kind of like Comic-Con, where all of a sudden 20%, 30% of the showroom floor in main hall is taken up by a gigantic Sony booth and a gigantic Marvel booth and a gigantic DC booth, so it's like it kind of lost its vibe. So maybe, just maybe, E3 might be stepping back and becoming what it once was, a place where people can share ideas and
Right.
get hooked up with indie devs and stuff
Right.
like that. So
I think they fell into the money grab thing,
yeah.
and then obviously once the pandemic happened, like, and everyone started going digital and everything, that it's way easier for us to do it this way.
Or we just don't have enough to
Yeah,
warrant
exactly.
spending X amount of thousands of dollars on a booth,
Right.
But yeah, shame. Pebble Beach is added to PGA Tour 2K23. It looks like dog shit.
Yeah. Like,
It's like fucking dog shit.
yeah.
People are like, "Oh, it looks so good." I'm like, bro, please look at the grass and that rock and how
Yeah.
they're interacting with one another, because that shit literally looks like it was just dropped in with a mouse. No attempt at making it look good. I could see blades of grass poking out through the rock. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it looked mediocre. It looked like, what you would expect. And, we've played it, right? Did you play it?
Pebble?
Yeah. Have you played Pebble?
No, like in real life, no.
Yeah, I played Pebble. I think
No.
Lucas might have played Pebble. I forget.
No.
But
My dad's played a couple times, but
yeah, it's a beautiful course.
yeah,
Don't
well,
do it.
I ain't gonna. I don't
A
got
disservice.
$700 to drop right now.
I mean, yeah, that was my thing. I never paid for golf, so
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
I just you perform and then you
Like
get
I
invites.
think it's like 500 around right now.
yeah,
something like
I
that.
mean, it's Pebble Beach though, dude. That's
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
solid, dude.
yeah.
That's a solid, dude.
I mean, yeah.
You get the right
It's
weather.
The
you go out there
number
in July.
number one golf public golf course.
Yeah, impossible to get tee times
Yeah.
and shit. But beautiful course. So they gotta do it justice. It's 2K23, so I'm pretty much just done with that game. If that game goes down for $15-$20 in the next like month or so, I might pick it up just so that
Just
I can
to
have
get
it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have it, but
No, I don't.
if it's on sale, I'll let you know, and maybe we can swoop it up to
Yeah.
at least have it accommodate our mini golf fascination.
I know. We are very pissed off about
What the fuck is wrong with
2K20.
that?
Like it got
Really?
worse, especially like
Really?
course design too. Like I don't. That's another tangent that I really don't want to go on. But
Like any other 2K game, I ain't buying it unless it's like 80% off. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
What
Or
sport.
it's like bundled to something.
Like I have a sick obsession with 2K. Like NBA 2K.
Yeah.
I don't even play online. I hate playing online. I just like running games. I will sit there and I'll run 8-minute quarter games, fucking 5 or 6 games back to back.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love fucking breaking ankles and dunking, and I love improving my character. I love dunking over people and hanging and shit. Like I have clips from back in the day. Like I've just been playing. I have every single one except for this last year, but like every single one since like 2013.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have a weak back when it comes to a weak spine when it comes to 2K games, but even me, it's like, fuck this PGA Tour
That's
shit.
me with MLB The Show. Like every year, they MLB The Show actually just announced their like new cover athlete, and like their collector's edition. Their collector's edition is gonna have Derek Jeter on the cover, which is pretty cool.
Like that's my thing. Is like I do like baseball games as well. Typically like home run derby type games, but like. I do like playing those games. I'm not a big fan of baseball. You guys are like ridiculous for it and shit. It's your lifeblood. And shit.
That's my
that's
life.
your jam for sure.
Yeah.
But I can still get genuine enjoyment out of like baseball games and stuff like that. Same thing with like hockey games and stuff like that. But golf games, like we've been streaming, it's just kind of like a weak point. So we will see if I pick up 2K23, I'll hop on Pebble first and foremost. Rumor swirls. Claims of canceled EA projects include a single-player Titanfall game and a single-player Apex Legends game.
Aren't they like one in the same universes?
They're in the shared universe, but people were salty that they weren't dedicating resources to a Titanfall 3.
Yeah.
As a first-person shooter, it is a fun game, and the whole ability to hop in mechs and shit like that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it was never really like a banger for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a top tier game, but it wasn't.
I saw like
banger.
people like enjoy the, I guess, PvP.
Yeah, the wall running,
aspect.
double jumping, and then, the weapon usage, and the weapons pretty similar to Apex Legends. Like almost carried over. Like, so if you like Apex Legends and you want to be able to do some like just not BR type setup, then a Titanfall game was your second best option.
Yeah.
So now people are super pissed that they found out that they were almost getting another Titanfall game and it's been scrapped.
Right.
EA is just cutting the fat right now.
Yeah. It's interesting though that like they don't want to do a single player like Apex game.
Yeah, because it would just be fun to run a single player, like, I don't know, wave based game like Fortnite or TDM type of
like
experience.
even one that had just an actual story, like your like a random character, whoever it is, and then you're like going through and then seeing these characters out like
expand
in a storyline. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Apex Legends Mobile is shutting down after less than a year.
What's new? Dear God.
So I mean, not much to talk about there, but it's another loss. Good damn.
Yeah.
Good damn. WB removes entire Harry Potter filmography from HBO Max just 2 weeks after a price hike and a week before the release of Hogwarts Legacy.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Like what is going on there? Like, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're pushing for DVD sales essentially, and we're not talking about royalties or streaming rights, or it's a WB it's a WB product.
Yeah,
that was removed off of the WB streaming platform after they price hiked and right before knowing that people that were hyped for that game are gonna want to watch those movies, and
Yeah.
they did it intentionally. So
Yeah, and you know, like later on, they're gonna throw them back on.
oh, this is not the first time they've done this, but it
Yeah.
wasn't in such a precarious situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't right in the middle of two very dramatically important things.
They'll throw them back on like during the holiday season.
Yeah,
And then
or a couple months after the game comes out, after people
Yeah.
get it out of their system, and they're
Right.
done buying their DVD box sets, they'll throw them back on there and shit.
right.
Box set for Harry Potter is not cheap, especially in like 4K and shit.
Well,
So,
when you got goddamn like 9 DVDs that you got to buy or whatever,
yeah,
Blu-rays,
7
like,
or whatever. Yeah, not cheap, and I'm sure they have 4K release, so you're probably looking at close to like $150 or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
lot of money. So
yeah,
yeah, you know, hey, do what you gotta do. They're out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus collection being removed on May 9th. Those who redeem the games prior to that date will be able to continue playing after their removal. There was a number of like OG games that were listed on this, but
Yeah.
you know, keep that in mind. So this is
take advantage of it.
a particular collection of games that were available to original purchasers, first wave buyers of the PS5. They're going to be removing those games, the freeness of those games, to
Yeah.
new customers. So they're not getting rid of their subscription Game Pass type thing. But
So download that shit now.
yeah, download it now, get it in your inventory or in your library, and
Just to
and
have it.
It'll be good. They'll be there after they remove it for new players.
Yep.
Researchers have created a shape-shifting robot that can morph between liquid and solid.
We just want our world to end.
Yeah, we want all the worst things for ourselves.
Like, we are literally making Terminators.
Yep. We're bringing back the dodo from Extinction and shit.
Yep.
And we're
Like,
here making metals that turn to liquid and vice versa. And we're fucking letting robots do parkour and all this crazy shit. We're trying
Next thing you know,
we're-
it's going to be a robot doing parkour that's also liquid and metal.
Yeah, and then it's
like-
powered by a little small dodo inside his chest that was brought back to life through genetic engineering and shit.
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely absurd shit. We're gonna have flying fucking sharks with laser guns and shit. Like, this world is doomed, bro. Like, we have so much to look forward to. But yeah, that is what that is. Now,
Yeah.
I've seen examples where like you hold magnet and like liquid will turn into like little spiky things, you know, or
Yeah.
you know. But we're talking like, I guess, hard metal Terminator shit. This is Terminator 2 shit. You know what I mean? Terrifying concept. HBO Max's Pennyworth cancellation announced the day after James Gunn's DC slate reveal. Never seen the show. Couldn't
Same.
possibly give a single fuck about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Can't
stupid.
remember who's supposed to play Pennyworth.
I mean, that show's been on for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't care about Alfred. You know, like, I don't want to think of him as some, you know, Sherlock Holmes type character from before. And
Right.
like, you know, it's more enthralling not knowing his background, but
Yeah, like
Understanding
him being a
his
mystery of
exposure.
like why he's such a badass. Like,
yeah, and why he knows all this stuff and how, and you know,
like leave it.
yeah, you don't need to make
Leave it as a
fucking TV
mystery.
show about it, you know, whatever. Drama-riddled open-world survival game The Day Before drops 10-minute gameplay footage after receiving claims their game was completely fake. I'm not sure if you saw this game. It's essentially
I've heard
DayZ.
about it. Yeah, like I've heard about it, but I haven't like looked into it.
Originally, the game looked like The Last of Us, open world,
Yeah.
DayZ looter, you know. Then images started coming out where it didn't really look the same, and then like there was nothing. They were missing dates. They weren't doing this. They weren't doing that. And then people just started claiming that it was a scam, even though they'd never taken any money. There was no pre-orders. It's like the
Right.
most like, it's like the most like wish list game or something like that on Steam.
Uh-huh.
But essentially what they did was like a couple days after they were expected to release something, they dropped like 10 minutes of footage or whatever, and
Right.
essentially just it's DayZ, bro. It's miscreated. It's all
Uh-huh.
these different open world, start with nothing, go find everything, and then go find more stuff, and then die
Right.
and relive your life, you know. The thing is, I'm kind of a nerd for those games. I was part of that first wave generation of both BR and survival games, you know, like
Yeah.
when DayZ was like, you know, Epoch mod on Arma, and when it was on DayZ mod on Arma 2, and you know, it's like BR was Player Unknown's Battle Royale on Arma, you know, before all this hoopla. So this reminds me more of like traditional DayZ, you know, where it's not zombies literally everywhere, but they're around. You're more so concerned about other people. You know, I mean, the amount of time I fucking injected bleach into cucumbers and shoved them down people's throats in that game, bro. Like, you have no idea. But it's like the fucked up things that you can do. It's more so the horrors of your fellow man rather than surviving in a world with zombies. You know what I mean? It's like, what's going to happen when you get fucking blindfolded and handcuffed and like shipped off somewhere, and then next thing you know, you got fucking, you know, sticks up your butt and you're sitting over a campfire and shit. You know, like that's what those games are based off of: looting and constantly fearing your fellow man.
Yeah.
So it just seems like what this one is it's one of those games, you know. And if people are looking for a new one, they're going to be the ones interested. But it was kind of a letdown for most people because it didn't look like The Last of Us level lighting and mechanics. Because the original trailer did very much look like it was like The Last of Us, like quality. So yeah, they really showed them. They dropped that trailer and fucking dick drop. What up? Cinematic trailer for Wild West Dynasty drops. Moon Punch Studios is the developer for that one. I just saw it, thought it was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. It threw me off because I was like, oh, this is Wild West Online. These fucks. Like, just before, fun story, just before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, about like 6 months, some shit game pops up on Steam where it's like, oh, we got a multiplayer Wild West game. And it essentially looked like Red Dead. And people taking points and controlling towns and looting and mining and all this stuff. I was like, oh my God, I got to buy this. So I bought that shit for like $70 and waited for it to come out. And it was the most ass online experience I've ever had in my life. It was so shit. Then they got really defensive about people talking shit about it, customers essentially, and then just shut down the game, got rid of their Steam page, took all the money, and just like disappeared. So that's what I thought this one was, but no, this is like one of those. It's like a farm simulator type thing, you know what I mean? Like they do make that. It's like medieval. It's their dynasty games. So farming dynasty, lumberjack dynasty, medieval dynasty. Okay. This one is Wild West Dynasty, so you can like start a town in the middle of the desert, and you build a saloon, and then you build a bank, and then you build this, and then a world builder aspect is behind it, where you know you're making buildings, like, and you get married. Is it like and
third person, like over the top, like
first person?
First person.
I think you can also swap back and forth between like an isometric down view of like city builder, but it is mainly like first person, where so you gotta go like, chop down a tree, go chop it down, you know.
Like Fallout 76 style
vibe, yeah. And then you can also like set up relationships with people and get married and have families and all that shit. So kind of a mix between a Sim City or even that like City of Gangsters we were talking about earlier, and you know, Sims, like where you can have relationships with people and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
The reason I mention it is because literally like almost every game they have, and it's like hundreds of reviews, are like overwhelmingly positive. So I was like, damn, I'm going to have to get up on this. It's like, dude, it's just like I'm sharing it because people that are into like Sims and stuff, this is actually a pretty renowned studio for delivering decent Sim experiences. But Wild West Dynasty drops soon. Check that out. Check them over on Twitter. Last couple ones here. Legendary Entertainment confirms Detective Pikachu 2 is still in development. No, you're riveted by that news.
I mean, I am a Pokemon fan, but like I didn't even realize that Detective Pikachu 2 was still
Did you watch that movie?
I did, yeah.
I like the vibe that the characters had, you know, like I like their look, like their faux realistic type like swing on it, you know. Like, it's pretty decent, you know.
I mean, some of the Pokemon definitely were nightmare fuel.
Yeah, like Clefairy. No, was it Jigglypuff?
Jigglypuff.
Yeah, that was fucked. I didn't need to know Jigglypuff had fuzzy.
I didn't need to know that it was fuzzy.
Mother who volunteers at her children's school was banned after another parent sent her OnlyFans pictures to the school board.
God.
So like I mentioned this one because it was like she wasn't like flaunting it or doing whatever.
Right.
She's like a single mom. She makes an OnlyFans.
Trying to make some cash.
She has 2 kids that she's like, and she previously, before doing this, was a common presence at the school, her kids. She's like the teacher, not teacher's aide, but you know what I mean, like the parents that show up for like help and like recess and after school shit and field trips, like one of the class moms. But she flashing a little bit on the interwebs and don't know how this other parent just happened to stumble upon this.
Snooping around, like
it's like that streamer that fucking went on. Oh my god, I didn't even put this in here, but oh my god, it's like the streamer who got caught with his fucking hand in his pants and shit, metaphorically speaking. But brought up his alt tab and it showed that he had a tab up that was like deep fake porn of other streamers and shit.
Dear God.
And he was like whacking it to chicks that he knew and shit. Whatever, bro. Hey, whatever. That's disgusting, homie.
Yeah.
Fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And then he blasted to like thousands of people who then now know that this thing exists and yada yada yada. But he accidentally entered his credit card information. It was a moment of weakness. He clicked the link. That's all he did. He clicked the link, and then he clicked another link, and then he took out his credit card and he started typing in all his personal information, and then he bought a monthly subscription to that shit. And that's kind of how I have the vibe. Is like this was like of the audacity. I cannot believe it. And then he's like saving the pictures on his computer and shit.
Yeah.
But this chick is like barred from all school property because she has an OnlyFans. Is that right or is that wrong?
I mean, like I don't think so. Like if she's not explicitly like
look like your typical class mom.
Like if she's not like
short sleeve t-shirt top with jeans, just whatever, normal class mom, sunglasses and shit.
Like, I don't know. Let her do her thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not like she's posting it like in the schools or anything.
Yeah. Like the kids shouldn't even know, let alone have these parents like now scouring the internet for her.
Goddamn Karen on the internet.
Basically. And don't know if it was a woman or a man that found it. I mean, don't know. But I figured that was wrong.
It was probably a dad that had the OnlyFans. And
he got caught.
And then he got caught. And then the wife or girlfriend, whoever, complained.
Yeah, that's probably something like that. I just thought it was wrong, so I figured we'd end out with that one.
Yeah.
Been running a little bit late on this one because
I ain't gonna stop anyone from getting their money.
Yeah, I mean,
as long as it doesn't interfere with anything that I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Use what you got. She was using what she had, so I mean, it's not.
More power to her,
dude. She's not doing anything, bro. Just leave her alone. What is your issue? Like,
exactly.
It's malicious by that point.
Your husband got caught. looking at this shit, and now you're mad because he's looking at her.
Yeah, and you're gonna go take it out on her. Yeah, so that is it for today's show. Probably gonna cut a few of those out just because it did run a little bit long. But,
yeah, I know.
We have our typical handles over on the social media networks: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good shit. It's at Nerd Chatter Show. You can check us out there. You can find Nerd Chatter Podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and basically anywhere else you can find podcasts. Make sure you subscribe and follow while you're there. That would be much appreciated, especially for like Spotify and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. All of our episodes are uploaded onto our YouTube channel, where we also do weekly live streams playing various games and drinking. I think today probably get a little bit of golf in before you got to go to bed for work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do something, I don't know, but I might stream a little bit of the City of Gangsters and all that stuff. We'll see what's up. If you could support us on there with sub and like and all that good shit, it'd be much appreciated as well. And if you'd like to support the show, you can head on over to our Discord. We have free games and trailer retweet bots for now. It's still treacherous circumstances going on with that, but Twitter API is under attack, so I'm not sure how much. But there's still a community over there. You can help grow. Help hop into and share it with your friends and all that good stuff. You can also support us by heading on over to our Patreon, where you can find additional segments, behind the scenes, monthly commentary tracks, which we're going to start getting into here pretty soon. Next time that we all line up in terms of schedule, we'll try to make that work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Kenny, appreciate you being here, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. Always enjoy being on the show.
Yep. And Lucas will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure if you're going to be available. Might have a 2-man show or a 3-man show. See what's up.
Tomorrow or next week?
Next week.
Oh yeah, I should be available next week.
Yeah, so we might have a 3-man show and maybe
dope.
swing up some commentary track, watch something stupid or some shit.
All right.
So yeah, we're out. You guys take it easy. Late.
All right.